Hey guys, welcome to my first video on the Long War Air game. I'm John Rips, Stephen Flavelin Meat Space, and we're gonna talk today
Is that
about
Meat Space?
And that's Caitlin, my wonderful assistant and girlfriend.
Oh, I'm assistant now? Wow, I got upgraded.
Assistant to the regional manager.
Yes.
Okay. You're distracting me.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we're in Meat Space right now.
You're distracting me. I'm trying to escort William Thorne. Oh, he came all the way down here. Sorry.
Okay. Today I'm going to be talking about shooting down scouts in March, which is, that's March of the first year, which is probably the most common interception that people fight, just because people don't get all the way through the game to fight the other ones, and you get 3 of these every single March. So, since this is a simple interception type, we're going to be able to go over some of the tools that we're using and their features, because we won't actually have much to talk about with regards to what we're doing to this UFO. Against a scout in March, I'll just give you the conclusion now, and then if you want to stick around and see how we get there and what's influencing the decisions, you can stick around. We just send interceptors with avalanche missiles. We send them on aggressive stance. They actually deal more damage per damage they receive on defensive or balanced stances because they have a higher aim than the scout. But it doesn't matter because the scout doesn't deal enough damage to us for us to worry about it, and we don't deal enough damage to the scout to reliably sink it on defensive or balanced. So we send on aggressive stance. We want to abort at about 25% remaining interceptor health. The scout's non-crits deal up to 25% of an interceptor's health at this stage in the game. So you could abort at 50% and be completely safe from critical hits as well. But if you're doing that, you're not going to reliably be shooting the scout down. So you just have to take a little bit of risk.
Sorry.
Ah!
I'm sorry.
She's sorry. Never teach preschool.
Do you have to
Don't
start
do it.
over now?
No, we're okay. We're okay. So what you're looking at now is the Air Simulator 1.2 by yours truly.
What?
You're okay.
Why did he reveal?
Because good question. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't understand how concealment scouts work, but this is not what this video is about. Yes, so what I've done is I've set this up right now to simulate 3 interceptors, all with pilot kills 1, which maybe we should be at 0 actually, and we're sending these on defensive, balanced, and aggressive stances respectively. I've got aim modules and dodge modules turned off because at this stage of the game we don't have those. UFO analysis, no, we don't have that yet. Friendly skies, I'm assuming we're playing without that. You can run your own simulations with it at true if you want. You may find that you actually want to send on balanced if you run that, I'm not sure. And then the Foundry projects, of course, are incomplete. We won't even have built a Foundry at this stage of the game. So we're fighting against a scout. I set alien research to 15. This should be 1 per day of the campaign. Between 0 and 30, there are absolutely no changes, so you could send it to 1 or 29 and be simulating the exact same thing. We're attacking a scout. It's got 750 health. We deal at least 340 damage per hit, and this increases by up to 1.5 times on a non-crit, and by up to 3 times on a crit. Our crit chance is only 5% though. So we're looking at 2 to 3 shots to kill, most of the time 2. The scout doesn't do a very good job of shooting back at us. It averages 1.58 engagements to kill our interceptor on aggressive. So we're in pretty good shape here. And yeah, I have us aborting at 49% right now, which is the slightly more than the max damage that the scout can possibly deal in 1 shot to us. And it's only hitting with a crit 2.5% of the time if we're on aggressive. So you see the results here. When we did this, we were killing it 24% of the time on defensive, 48% of the time on balanced, and 60% of the time on aggressive. And that's just with one interceptor. Keep in mind that most of the time you'll be able to send more interceptors along. We didn't lose any interceptors, which makes sense because it's impossible with the setup that I provided. Let's look at improving these numbers though, and see what happens if we abort at a lower health threshold. Alright, so here I've changed our death abort to 24%, so our interceptors are risking dying, but at least in this simulation... Oh, actually I lost 1 out of 75 playing in this way. So there's a very, very small chance that you're going to lose an interceptor if you're not aborting at 50% health, but it's very, very small. And as payment for doing this, we've gotten our kill percentages up. On aggressive, we're now sinking 72% of the UFOs with just one interceptor. We want to get that closer to 100%, and we want to do that by sequencing multiple interceptors to go kill it. Because if we fail to shoot down the UFO with the first interceptor, obviously we're going to send a second. So I'm going to show you your chance to sink this UFO using 2 interceptors now. Alright, so what I've done here is I've turned on sequential interceptions. That means that after one UFO, or after one interceptor closes with the UFO and leaves, the next one that gets sent is going to start at the remaining UFO's HP. The remaining HP for the UFO, instead of starting on a clean UFO. So we no longer get to compare the two against one another, but now we are... Oh god, I just resimmed everything. Anyway, now we're sending 2 interceptors, because I have my Blue Ranger kill aborting at 100%, so it won't actually shoot at the UFO at all. And when we send 2 interceptors, the green one's going first, so you see that green intercepts are often not resulting in the UFO dead. But the red intercepts are getting us there almost all the time. 3 out of 25, the UFO was still alive afterward. And I'm going to guess it's somewhere between like 10 to 20% is where the true number is. I'm not going to sim this a ton of times to close in, but yeah, 75 sims is not enough to make claims about true numbers on their own, but you sort of get in the ballpark most of the time. What else is there to say about these sims? We took it out 60% of the time with the first interceptor, and we're up to almost 90% with 2. So in the first month, you often have situations where 2 of your interceptors are damaged and you're only left with 2 of the starting 4, and you're going to have to fight this engagement. And you need to keep in mind that if you're going to fight this engagement with 2 interceptors, probably around about 15% of the time, the UFO is going to get away, which is a risk you have to take on if you're going to stick with 2 interceptors. However, you do have the option of buying more interceptors in March, and while it can be hard to close on a scout with more than 2 interceptors, if you're starting in a lot of the highest tier starting locations like the US, for example, you should often be able to get more than 2 interceptors to intercept a scout. So next I'm going to look at what happens if you do buy up to 3 interceptors, or have 3 interceptors to begin with, and send all 3 at the scout. So the only change I made was I changed kill abort for the Blue Ranger to 0, so now it's actually shooting at the scout, and we've got all 3 interceptors with avalanche missiles on aggressive stance at death abort 24%. And the result for this simulation was actually 100% kill. Although in this one, our first 2 interceptors did better than last time. We got 96% kill just on the first 2. I'm going to sim this one more time for you guys. And here you go. This time we only managed to bring down 23 out of 25 of the UFOs, and that's sad, but it's sort of acceptable. We've only gotten 1 death out of like 225 sims or something like that I've been running with a death abort of 24%. So I think you can feel pretty comfortable aggressively pursuing intercepts. 3 interceptors, you expect to bring the UFO down probably 95+% of the time, I would say. And it looks like with 2 interceptors, you get it around 85 to 90% of the time. 1 interceptor is a bit more of a crapshoot. Definitely send on aggressive. Definitely use avalanche missiles. You may want to switch to Stingrays for scouts in April because this percent of kills destroyed number is starting to matter. Interestingly though, avalanches do a really good job of not destroying scouts because they usually kill them in 2 hits without much overkill. So even though avalanches deal much more damage than Stingrays to scouts, you end up overkilling less anyway, unless you end up using 3, in which case you get intercepts like this where you overkill by 50% of the scout's hit points and probably it's getting destroyed. But as long as you bring it down with 2, it's probably crashing, which is, it's nice that the math works out like that. So probably even in April, you want to stick with this strategy. Maybe we'll look at that later, I don't know. So I hope you guys enjoyed and got something out of this video. It's probably nothing new to most of you, but I'm sure that seeing the actual numbers is helpful. And I'll see you guys next time. We'll talk about maybe Raiders in April or something like that. Let me know in comments if you have any suggestions, likes, dislikes about this video, and I'll try to incorporate them. Bye guys.